Come on, Gabble! It's this week's Monkey Nut Punch podcast featuring a man mistaken for a whale and a gnome with me. And we'll leave it at that.
Am I the one who's mistaken for a whale? I feel like it's me.
I love you for that comment, Nigel. I love you for that comment. You're my friend now. I
take it you guys haven't seen the thumbnail.
I have seen the thumbnail. I am going to babble on, but I'm feeling good this week. I feel like we've actually got some meaty topics to talk about this week. We've got some good television, some okay television, and some not so okay television. But the thing is that we've actually got a Star Wars series that is being debated for all the right reasons for once, which is kind of like refreshing. I mean, people don't like it and people like it, but it's been debated for the right reasons.
There are also people think it's in the middle as well.
Yes. Yep. And we will debate that shit. It
is incredibly average in my opinion, which is great.
That's the thing. Is it being incredibly average? I'm just sick of incredibly average. I want good. I'll accept good, not great. Good will do.
I once everybody's finished watching our video, I implore you to go and watch Critical Drinkers video, because it's one of the most refreshing videos I've seen on Star Trek in years, because they're not sitting there talking about identity politics or diversity or
Did
anything.
you say Star Trek?
Star Wars.
Mate.
Star Trek's wishful thinking. That shit's done. That shit's dead forever.
How dare you? I'm not even in the realms of even thinking about being near a nerd, and you have single-handedly just done yourself in.
Yeah, well,
you've lost all your points that you've earned ever.
Whatever.
Not my points.
A long time ago. I genuinely enjoyed the third episode. I'm excited to where I think this is going. I think Danish actor was really good in it. I can't remember his real name. Skarsgård was really fucking good in this.
Is that the fella who met Andor?
Yes, and right. I think he's quite interesting.
I've seen him before. Not in Andor, but something else.
This is.
He was in MCU Thor. As scientist in Thor. He was in.
Was he in the Rain?
The Caribbean, not last two. The second two Pirates of the Caribbean films as Bootstrap Bill's. He was Bootstrap Bill.
Yeah. That's it.
He was also the murderer in The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo in the English remake that wasn't so good.
I hadn't seen it. No.
But Skarsgård is interesting. I think where the planet that Andor was found on is interesting, and that was one thing I did take away from the first two episodes. Now, look, here's the thing, right?
I don't understand any of that. Where was he found?
I'll tell you. Let's say this feels like it's written for Netflix, not Disney Plus. It feels like it's been written with the fact that all 12 episodes were going to be, dumped at once, and you were going to be able to binge them, right?
Hang on a second. Just let me get it straight. You this has been written. This isn't a collection of post-it notes.
Oh, it is written. I mean, look, you can say what you like. It is competently written. You can say it's boring, and I will accept that. The first two episodes are boring. There are some juicy details, but it could have easily been condensed down into one episode and served the exact same purpose, right?
Mm-hmm.
It is a 3-episode, single episode pilot kind of thing. But you're writing for Disney Plus, and therefore Disney Plus air it every week. The first episode is meant to capture you, and it kind of doesn't. The third episode does.
Didn't they drop all 3 at the same time, though?
Yes, they did, but they had to, because it's only the third episode that really that gets you in.
The first two are rubbish. Are absolute tosh. Boring.
You see,
only because my children wanted to watch any more did I watch any more. And when the third episode,
that's the one thing I do know.
No, but when we watched the third episode, that's when it starts to get better, and that's the only point that it starts to get better.
For the first time in Star Wars history, they drop an S-bomb in the 3rd episode, actually. So, no, it's definitely not for kids.
Why?
Look, here's
nothing
what I like
I've seen so far
I know
is over the top and couldn't be watched by kids.
I know this annoyed you, but Gareth will appreciate this for a different reason. A girl gets caught, Gareth, right? She's one of the main leads in it. She's pretty hot, right? But, you know, unlike every other fucking thing that Disney have done at the moment, where one girl manages to miraculously take on and, you know, kick the shit out of 6 guys that's several times larger than her, you know, Obi-Wan, she gets pushed against a fucking wall and it gets her ass handed to her, which was kind of refreshing. I don't mean violence against women, people. I mean the fact that it was realistic.
It's realistic to the point that once he grabbed her, that happened. But my issue is that the circumstance as to why he grabbed her, there was no reasoning behind it. He just, there was a load of people running away at the same time. She was also running in the same direction as other people, yet he singled that one woman out, grabbed her, and went, "Why are you running away?" What in the what kind of writing is that?
Well, no,
nonsense, absolute nonsense.
I would argue she was running with intent. So,
so was everyone else. They were fucking running away.
Kind of like she had that look on her face that she was going somewhere. Where all the others are
so
running
did
around
everyone else.
No,
people with guns in the street pointing. They're all running away with intent. So was she.
No.
She was grabbed. Bullshit. Absolute
like
bullshit.
They were headless chickening. She was running somewhere with intent. That was kind of obvious.
If you know the area and someone pointed a gun at you and you had the opportunity to run away, would you not run with intent to a place that you fucking know and not aimlessly somewhere? You would, and she was.
But she,
no, they weren't.
Okay, right.
No.
We'll agree to disagree on that one.
That brought a little bit of a plot. It's only because of that it forced the plot forward.
Can I ask you one?
Not much of a plot, to be fair.
But the one thing I will say about this, whereas like Obi-Wan felt so sort of claustrophobic and so small, this felt quite big. This felt like it was taking place in the world because they've got that massive fucking set, and this thing's actually clearly got a fucking budget, right? Made in England.
It looked like where they were breaking apart the Star Destroyers and whatever. It looked like, you know, in the game.
Yes.
Recent game.
That's just they ripped that off again.
Yes, they have.
Another thing they've ripped off.
It looked like that place in the game, and it's why that kept my attention. And I did like the bit where, well, actually, it felt like nonsense again. Everyone's banging on their bits of metal, and then she says, "Just you wait until the metal's banging stops," and the metal banging stops, and literally nothing happens. There was no point to it. None apart from a warning system, and it carried on going even though everyone knew and had vacated the street. There was no. I was expecting all these people who were banging the plates and shutting all the shops and all that sort of stuff to suddenly appear on rooftops with pistols pointed at these people. I was expecting something, and that is why the woman was warning him to watch out when the sound stops, and that's when you should worry. The sound stops. And nothing happens.
Well,
bollocks, rubbish again.
I like
don't
her,
like it. It was pointless. There was no purpose.
I don't have that issue with it. I enjoyed the 3rd episode. I'm going to put it out there. I enjoyed the 3rd episode. I think the cast
lazy.
The cast are pretty good. I like what's her face, Aunt Petunia in this. I like her anyway. I mean, she was the only good thing about killing Eve. I mean, she was the only good thing about killing Eve towards the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I mean, she made that last season of Baptiste as well. Sorry, we're really going off here, but if you saw Baptiste, she was fucking awesome in that. And
I remember. I remember
she played the
Baptiste, but
She played the British ambassador in the final season of Baptiste, and she was really good.
Well, I like. Okay, so with Andor, first episode very slow, second episode slightly quicker. Could have been, like you said, condensed into one episode with the same amount of 30-minute slot allocated, and you would have got through the same plot as well. Third one, it did pick up, much more interesting, but there are issues with the writing, in my opinion, like I've just said. And I did like the bit where they're showing Andor's as a child. I like that bit, and they show why he met the lady, whatever her fucking name is, why those two met and how those two met. I like that. So there's that little bit of flow there as to why I thought maybe they were related, but they're showing why they're not, and why he has that robot and all that stuff. Yeah, cool. I didn't mind that bit.
I have a question for you. The game, because it's funny, Gareth saying ripping off the game. I think they're not ripping off the game. I think they're linking to it.
What's the game?
Fallen Order. You were talking about the
I thought you were referencing some other mystical game.
Fallen Order is quite gritty, right? It is quite gritty. It kind of fits that similar gritty mood to what this is. This is taking place around about the same time.
It feels that way.
So this has potential to bump into lots of characters that they could bring into live action. I mean, let's face it, the characters that are in the game are modeled on real actors. They all look like that in real life, including what's her face with the fucking scary eyes. But she looks like that. There is a potential here to bring in quite a lot. I like.
They haven't got hang on a second. They haven't got the black lady in it who always seems to play the rebel leader in everything that she's in.
No, not yet. But we're not at the rebel yet. Stars at Larsgar, I think, is one of the guys that finds it. We've got potential to play into rebels characters here. I think that mine that was abandoned, that you hear was abandoned, is interesting.
They showed an abandoned mine, didn't they?
Yeah, they did that, and then they made a play of it. The fact that he comes from this place, that the minute he admits from coming that place, that like, you know, you're going to come up on the Imperial radar. I liked that. I liked the fact that we were looking at corporate style, you know, security rather than the Imperial Empire.
Yeah.
They didn't just immediately go in with the Imperial Empire.
I did wonder why they were wearing the blue and they weren't, you know.
Yeah, well,
Imperials.
We've seen those. We saw that in an episode of Rebels. That they are a pre-existing thing. So I don't know. I liked the third episode. Right. I didn't have the same issues as you had with it. I like the cast. I like the fact that it doesn't feel claustrophobic. I like the fact that they've got massive practical sets. I like the fact they used locations, Cardiff being one of them, which was quite cool.
I liked it. I like the fact that it didn't look like that it was all filmed in one little studio. Yeah, it did look expansive, especially it gave you a feel of how far they needed to travel when they were escaping on the speeder. How long he was actually traveling on the speeder to get to a ship. If he had a ship, I'm struggling to figure out why he needed to turn up in that transporter rather than a speeder or something from the ship to the place and just stash the speeder somewhere. That doesn't make any sense to me. Again, another fucking plot issue. So there's a few in this episode, but I don't see the significance of him having those fucking strange little chats on the transporter either with some random bloke. Maybe he comes back in another episode and turns out to be somebody who he said he isn't, for example.
I think it was just sort of character building in the fact that they made him, the way he was reacting to him and everything. I don't know.
Well, he said fuck all to him. He just sat there going, But I mean, he could have just. There was it didn't build any sort of fucking character.
I get
the same effects could have been just him sitting there silently looking out a window, not talking or having anyone talk at him. which was the
I
case
won't
in this.
argue. I won't argue with it. Look, it was certainly slow moving. All right, I do think the first 2 episodes could have been condensed into 2, but for the first time, this kind of shows promise. I like the fact that they have had several occasions when they could have gone down the lazy ass writing that we've seen in all of the previous Star Wars shows, and even in The Mandalorian to a certain extent, where they go stupid woke, diversity, blah blah blah. There was none of that bollocks in this. There was none of that. Yes, it's not without problems, but at least it feels like it's been written by people that can actually write. Is it perfect? No. I can understand that some people see it as spectacularly average. The first 2 episodes are average, but there's a lot in there that for a fan that has been taken to the brink, that is at least a bit positive in the fact that it doesn't feel claustrophobic. It doesn't feel like so many of those shows like Doctor Who the whole fucking time. Gareth was right. It's felt claustrophobic. It's felt like it's in this tiny little bubble world. This feels like it's set in the universe.
I think I would have preferred it a bit. In the they were using the guy who goes up on the tower and does the bang 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 on the big metal thing to, I don't know, indicate some sort of lunchtime or something, or end of a working day, and they actually when people were banging on the metal bits, I thought he was going to appear and start banging on that to indicate something, because they even showed it. They even looked at it. And you went, what's the significance?
Can I ask something?
Yeah.
Can I ask something? Aliens. We got aliens in it.
There was one.
Yes. There's
one alien.
It's quite a funny scene. There's a funny scene where we have a bit of a donk moment, Crocodile Dundee. I've got a donk moment, but the donk just doesn't give a shit. It's like Andor's like getting roughed up by his mate because he owes him money, and then like this big fuck off burly alien comes in, and it's like, well, I brought him along. At first, he's all fucking threatening. He's like, "What are you fucking doing here?" kind of thing.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. And that was
he goes. Well, he asked me to be
here. Yeah. That was quite. Mate, there is the obligatory sort of cantina scene, but it's not like it's a different type of cantina dream. We have a droid, but again, a beaten up kind of sad sort of dying droid.
And you see that droid with that lady and Andor, but in both present and past. So I liked that it's the same droid, and he looks beaten up now. And back when they were doing salvaging, the droid did look pretty brand new, to be honest. He looked in good nick, didn't he? I like that, and so there's history with that. Yeah, I like that continuity. I like that little bit of backstory, and they didn't have to spend too much time on it.
I know what I can see the banner, Gareth. I've seen the banner for a few minutes. That's why I've stuck my finger up at you. But look, I am a Star Wars fan, and for the first time, I didn't immediately hate it. Whereas I immediately hated Obi-Wan. I tried not to hate Obi-Wan, but I just hated it. This I didn't hate. And okay, I can see an argument that some people say, well, it's average. Well, it's average, but it's the best thing we've got. Is it average? No, I think the 3rd episode showed some promise. I like the cast. I think it'll be interesting. Can it go downhill from here? Oh, fuck yes. Can it do what WandaVision did, where I felt the first 2 episodes were shit? Then I kind of got excited. Then my hopes and dreams were completely fucking shat upon on the floor. Can it do this? Absolutely. Right. Does it have potential to do this? Absolutely. Right. Because this is Disney. But if they hold it together, potentially this is good.
It depends where the story's going to go, because obviously the matey boy wanted to recruit Andor, and they escaped together and so forth. Yeah, the escape bit was quite cool. When they met, that was the bit that actually it started getting better.
Yeah, that was kind of cool. Yeah.
And the escape was quite good, and getting in the thing and going, so that was quite good. I was just a bit gutted that I thought the whole reason for the banging on the metal to get everyone hiding, shutting up shop, and ready for protection.
But it was intimidation. It was intimidation, and I was into that. I mean, I was watching that and I was into it. I liked how that banging was kept going. It was foreboding, and the line that she says, because she's, I just like her, but she's a bloody good actress. And that line she says, "I know you didn't think that went anywhere, but for me, when that stopped, I was, It was.
I was expecting something.
Well, it did. They
because she, the lady, said you won't like it when it goes silent, and that's why I was expecting something to happen.
Well, they
when
kind
it
of
goes
ended
silent.
up not liking it, did they? Because they all got fucked up by one way or another.
Yeah, but not through anything planned. It was only because the matey boy, who none of them had met before, apart from the girl, had set up a few explosives on the door as he went in, and that was nothing to do with the reason why they were banged. Again, plot hole. Should have used it for something. They should have just had people appear on rooftops with their guns pointing down at them to assist them getting away. Yeah.
Fuck's sake. The one thing I'll say, right, is did you pay attention in the first episode where the security boss? No, but did you see the bit where the security boss was giving the guy that goes off on his own, a talking down, saying, "Don't investigate this, just leave it fucking well alone," right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to make a prediction here. Because he ignored him and everything went to shit, right? Now that's going to get the intentions of the Imperial forces.
Yeah.
What's the betting? The Imperial forces are going to land there and Andor has to come back and save the fucking day, which potentially could be quite good. So, again, I like the fact at the beginning of the first episode, he fucking kills both of them. That was, again,
the first one was accidental, but
the first one was accidental, but the second one was just like he did, it was, and you can sit there and go, every one of us would have done the same thing because he was immediately going to go and fucking blab. So what else can you do? You shoot the guy.
He sat there. He was just accosted by these two people. He had every right to defend himself. And the other guy, although he was saying all that stuff, it was 100%. He was immediately going to try and get him. So, yeah.
Look,
I mean, that was the best bit of that first episode.
I found the bit about talking about the sister interesting because that's kind of opened up something. It's like, okay, what is going on with that planet? That's got me intrigued. I want to know who Styles, what's his face, is, and where he fits in. But he is clearly one of the early founders of the Rebels, because we know that the Rebels were a bunch of the Rebel Alliance, so it was different factions brought together. We've seen that in Star Wars Rebels. This has potential, right? But it could do a WandaVision. So it could
have to wait and see. It could go either way. This it at the moment for me it is smack in the middle as average. It has grown each time.
I can respect that.
3 out of 5 at the moment. We'll see.
I respect that. What I have enjoyed, though, is we're not sitting here fucking talking about the same shit that we've talked about with every single other thing that has come out. We've had a proper debate about this. I respect your point. I don't agree with everything, but I respect it. But what I like is we've sat here and had a debate, and not once have we talked about the same shit that we've had a problem with everything else over the years. This is refreshing. So I don't care about anything else. I don't care whether I'm right or wrong, I'm a simp or not. The fact is that we've had a debate that isn't about the same shit that we always talk about. And you know what? I find that really fucking refreshing. And it's just giving me a bit of positivity. I mean, I don't know. It's not what we thought it was going to be, and that's good. Is it spectacularly average? I understand why a lot of people think it is. I'm trying to be a bit more positive about it, but I get why people are saying that. But at least they're not saying it's shit. I haven't, even as who put out that video, go, "Oh shit," will then listen to Critical Drink and when watch the other 2 episodes and goes, "Well, actually."
We'll see what the next episode brings, and actually if it's going to carry on increasing. I hope it does, and I like the fact that there's no actual lightsabers in it yet. I think
Okay.
the longer
Yeah,
it
all right.
stays out of it, the better.
Yeah, agreed.
And on that bombshell.
You're listening to the Monkey Nut Punch podcast.
I got something to show you. It's not more Willy.
I'm not interested then.
Right, I got the trailer popped up on my Google feed, and it was for a thing called The Devil's Hour, starring Peter Capaldi. And I sent you the trailer, so I'll pop it up and make comments as you're watching it.
You ever been in this room before?
No.
You feel like you have?
Why would I?
I know you feel out of place, like your life isn't your own.
You don't know me.
This is all of the evidence seized last Thursday night. We believe this is the man that murdered Howard Slade and Shane Fisher.
You knew one of his victims. If there's a link, we'll find it.
Tell me, what am I missing?
There's no pattern, it's just chaos.
You can prove it to yourself, Lucy. Think.
Harold Slade, I know that name means something to me.
Remember. That was shit before.
Why don't you start at the beginning? You seem to have a distorted relationship with time.
My perception of time is better than anyone's.
That's because he's
Playing a game with us.
So play
Yes.
back.
Lucy, this guy's...
Is this what happens if the Doctor murders someone?
And
It's all connected. Your dreams, your memories, everything that happens, everything that doesn't, everything that will.
And in this delusion of yours, are you a time traveler or a fortune teller?
Neither. I'm both.
Well, do you know what I think this should be called?
Doctor
What?
Who?
No.
Doctor Who, yeah. I think
Not Doctor-
this is
no.
a Doctor Who episode that never made it.
No, it's not. It's Doctor New.
Doctor Who.
Dr. Knew. So Dr. Knew. Dr. Knew.
I watched that trailer and I just went, okay, this is Capaldi's Doctor. I mean, this is just what if the Doctor got slightly sinister? What if the Doctor decided, fuck it, I'm going to murder someone because, you know, I was a woman
Mate,
for so long.
you don't even know if he's
crazy.
murdered. You don't even know if he's the
No,
murderer.
I know,
No.
but no, you don't. It felt sort of like, you know, was it Line of Duty meets Doctor Who? I mean, it's kind of, it's got like a
little bit of timey-wimey in it as well.
Yeah.
but he looks, the trouble is, he did such a good job as a Doctor. I'm seeing the Doctor there. I am seeing his Doctor there. You know, when he's asked that question, you know, about the time and the dreaming, he went, no, both. You're like, that's the fucking Doctor, you know? And right, what's really annoyed me, right, is that I actually like look at this and I've cancelled my Prime subscription in actual fucking protest. I've cancelled my Prime subscription. Fuck you, Amazon. So now I'm going to have to sell the 7 Seas for this. But if it's really good, I'm going to feel guilty and therefore have to fucking sign back up to Amazon Prime. Because if it's good, I want to give it the ratings so that, you know, if it's like finishes on a cliffhanger and it needs a second season, I want to be able to support that.
It does. It's like I was watching, right. My wife was watching Sandman on Netflix, Sandman, and I realized how many Doctor Who people were in that. There are loads. And then the other thing too, and this might fuck up the second seasons of Sandman, is how Sandman looks a bit like Derek Zoolander.
He does a little
He
bit.
does, doesn't he?
He does a little bit, yeah.
The Derek Zoolander place for kids who are not that good at reading.
As much as you said that, though, I thought out of everything, he was one of the better casts in that. He worked as
Anyway, going back to the Peter Capaldi thing, I like the look of this. Actually, this is got to subscribe to Stephen Moffat on Instagram because that's anything he does social media wise. And he put that out, and I'm like, that looks great. I think
Did
I
he
want
write
some of
it?
that. No, he didn't. But my other trailer that I found interesting this week that airs
did.
Monday at 9 o'clock, he did write. But we'll save that for after you've talked about what was the thing you were telling us about?
Capture.
Second season of Capture.
Mm.
Okay, so hang on a moment. On Facebook, give us a like on our Facebook page, Monkey Nut Punch. Thanks. Try to be professional this week.
I just have to say before we get into this, Nigel recommended the first season of this, and it was one of his best recommendations. And when the second season came out, I was like, oh, and I was fucking captivated by it. So
the thing is, the first season is good. And now, if you haven't, I say good, it's actually, in my opinion, very good. There's an air of mystery around it because you've got essentially the trailer shows. If you've not seen it, it's on the BBC. You could probably watch an iPlayer, watch the first season. It does a decent job in unraveling what it's all about. And in a nutshell, it's about what they call correction. And that's correction of video recorded images that they can use to manipulate situations to benefit others or destroy others. Now, in this first season, they go out of their way to destroy this guy. He's in the army, I think, by saying that he attacked the girl that he was with at a bus stop, and the people in the CCTV room who had eyes around the town saw it happening and called the police, and he was there and they arrested him, blah blah blah, and it went through court and all this sort of stuff, blah blah. And that's where it starts unraveling that they were using something called correction, and the images that the CCTV operators were seeing was not right, and it was doctored. And they managed, I won't go into how they managed to prove anything different, but that's the premise. And so the second season sort of builds on that, and then you're thinking, so they're doing this now, like CCTV should be easy enough to change, right? It is a feed from a camera. However, what they do in this second season is they manipulate live broadcast television. And what people are seeing in their homes is not what is going on in the studio. And there was a point where this politician's getting interviewed, and it's the only bit that I have an issue with, because typically you would have maybe 4 or 5 people. You'd have one on the camera in the same room. It wouldn't be a remote camera. You know, you'd have some people in the room to make sure levels, all that sort of stuff. They wouldn't all be sat in another room, right? You would have thought there would be more than 2 people in that room. Yeah, because there's people there by giving them visual cues and so forth. Yeah,
I thought, to be honest, I thought the BBC now do use remote cameras in the newsroom, because it was the Panorama studio. I think
I haven't seen behind.
Yeah,
but I would, you know, when they pan out sometimes and you see, like, you know, there's somebody sitting at the camera making sure it's point, you know, all that sort of, and there's normally a sound man who's there making sure that what is being heard as well out of the mouths, that sort of thing. So they've got one ear off. So at least there should have been 4 people in that room, the 2 talking, and maybe a sound and cameraman. Yeah, I understand the rest being in that room. And so they've put out this, he's put out this statement
racial
of
profiling.
him, of this whole thing is around a system that can sort of capture your face, run your facial recognition over the system, so over this software system, and identify you. and there's a few companies that are vying for the government contract from this. So they run it in tandem with CCTV, so they can find no criminals, all that sort of stuff, right? And the government minister who's in charge of this, the security minister, is the one that is the face of this, if you see the pun, is the one who's getting manipulated either live on TV or he's not, he's got a stance against this certain contractor who's saying we're not going to put them forward for the government contract because we feel that the country behind it will then have access to a hell of a lot of British data, and we don't want them to have that, etc., etc. So he's going against it, and then his words gets manipulated, and he starts getting accused of flip-flopping between yes and no, and then he said, yeah, but the racial profiling is amazing on this, and that's when everyone's like, hang on a minute, pal.
Yeah, you're missing the key point of the fact that he's black, talking about racial profiling on black people, and that's what kind of blows it all apart. But
and that's why he goes into the studio to have a face-to-face meeting to get this, because he saw the interview and goes, but I didn't say that. I didn't say any of that. And his wife is confused, a whole lot,
Can I ask you 2 questions? Did you think it was better than the first season?
Actually, yeah, I thought it built on it.
I agree with you. And 2, when did you figure out it wasn't who was actually up to it, or who was doing? When did you figure out the connection to
who it actually was?
Well, let's say the CIA, and because that's not revealing everything. But I figured out I think the 4th episode. I went, no, it's not the Russians. This is the Yanks. But I didn't see the other bit coming. And when they did that, I thought, oh fuck, they're
the ending.
There. Well, no, they're going with they're going with the sort of Cambridge Analytica sort of side of things, and they really fucking went there. And I was just like, oh shit, they are really, they're really going to town with this. And because not only we're going to be, talking about deep fakes, which really shits people up, we're going to be talking about data analyzing and using data to overthrow politicians, which, Cambridge Analytica, without going down.
Oh, fuck off. Facebook data shit. We know Facebook. We know firsthand that Facebook data is shit.
No, but I'm not going down the political route.
That doesn't matter. Just don't say Facebook data has any relevance on anything.
No, I'm not.
You're growing through Facebook and spending money, and you can ask Nigel, it didn't bloody work.
Doesn't work.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that they were going to play into people's fears here, and so they very much did. And
so the matey boy, who they had in charge of the corporate company, he done a very good job in portraying the very typical Steve Jobs schmarmy turtlenecked prick that we all love to hate, and he had this weird cocky smile about him, schmarmy thing that made you think, when you first see him, you think he doesn't seem quite on the level with everyone. He's got something that he's doing, my wife, obviously being from China, was sitting there going, it's not the Chinese on episode 2, maybe even near the end of episode 1, when they started blaming them. I was like, well, they're blaming them, so it's obviously not them. And the fact that they're making him say this stuff and saying that's why they're recommending the Chinese company must be completely not them. We were thinking it fairly early on, and I started blaming the Russians, to be honest. And
that's where I went at first.
But then they showed it. Yeah, they used the thing, the actual. He goes, oh yeah, we've still got that program on my laptop. I'll help you demask this person.
It was. I think I started figuring out that the Americans had something to do with it when they started making parallels with the real sort of what's its face contract that was all in the news a few years ago, when the Americans were putting pressure on the UK not to do it. And I thought, oh, hang on, is this the US? And is this what's his face? What's he up to? Then there was the whole he's sick thing, which I genuinely believed, and
so did he.
That whole final fucking 30 minutes. Wow.
Literally.
Wow.
When you think you've got a story and you get into the final episode and you go, how are they going to tie a nice little neat bow over everything on this? There's quite a bit to unpack and finalize. And you get to the last 30 odd minutes and you're sitting there going, okay, we seem to be getting some. And then the last 15 minutes of it all gets wrapped up. Every bit gets wrapped up and you're going, whoa.
It's not entirely wrapped up. I think there is room to come back to a third season. Whether they do that or not, I don't know. You could leave it off here and be very satisfied with a 2-season arc. Because I really thought, my only criticism of the first season is I thought they were going to wrap it up, and then you're kind of left unsatisfied that she goes and ends up working for them. You're like, fuck,
yeah. But
right?
now you know why.
And it certainly felt like it was going that way again, right? And you think, oh, for fuck's sake. And it's only when she walks over to that lovely little matey boy, and then you see, because there was one thing that I thought, hang on, maybe something's going on. Because matey boy who was the controller dude, right? And he kept having those sort of long stares. You think, hang on, is he up to something, right? And then you see her give a wink at the little Indian controlling dude.
She put his hand. She put his hand on the fingerprint scanner, which then allows you to make edits to scripts that the AI is using to generate whatever's being shown. And as soon as she did that, I went, what have they got on here then? And that's the bit that it all starts to get nice.
I loved how they kind of tied it up. The politician guy was not, again, the politician who we think is hard done by is actually a bit of an arsehole, right? Which I kind of liked. Again, I liked the fact that they went there and he was a bit of an arsehole.
He was portraying himself as being nicer than nice. Then he admits to the wife about, well, not exactly admits, but she, figures stuff out. And
it was really captivating TV, and it was really good TV. It felt like Line of Duty, and unlike, and I'm going to say something controversial here, unlike the final of Line of Duty, this was quite satisfying. I kind of like how they wrap this up. I see that they could bring it back for a third season. There is a little bit of a gap there that they could bring it back in, but they would have to do it in a right way. But yeah, genuinely, that final in Piccadilly Circus and the way it was shot, brilliant. Fuck it, it was just really good.
They realised something from the live interview that they could harness for the Piccadilly thing, which they did. If you see what I mean.
Again, it was something other than Line of Duty, which didn't particularly finish for me all that satisfying. It's nice to see the BBC doing something which was actually pretty bloody good. And
it was Peacock. It was joined with Peacock.
Yeah, I know. But isn't that something else they're doing? Isn't the thing that you're talking about, Moffat thing, isn't that joint with the streaming service as well?
I have no idea. We'll find out in a moment. Shall we? Shall we now?
I think so. So to sum it up, if you haven't watched the first season of Capture or The Capture, go watch the first season, and then once you've watched that, the second season will build on it.
Who's the American actor in it? The big sort of guy.
Ron Perlman.
Ron Perlman, fucking brilliant in that second series. And when he finds out the whole he has been got by by capture technology for his whole cancer thing, which I thought was pretty shitty, actually.
Well, you're
Even though
just
he's a bit of an arsehole.
you're now just telling people what's happened here.
Well, you know,
you
spoilers,
find out in
people.
the final episode.
But
don't do
Ron
it,
Perlman,
Keith.
fucking brilliant in this.
He's
again,
Ron Perlman. He plays a blinder in this.
Yeah.
Okay.
And on that, I think we should go on to the next one.
A word's too much for you? Then you should follow us on Instagram. We put pretty pictures out. Thanks. I think I need to put some more pretty pictures out recently. Okay, so fucking no. Anyway,
Alexa, put pretty pictures out. Cheers.
Right. So this is on BBC Monday at 9:00. I'm not sure where else you can find it, but it's called The Inside Man.
There are moments that make murderers of us all.
Bye-bye. Have a good day. Hello.
No one is safe from the worst that they can do.
So
cracks can open in the most ordinary life and swallow anyone at all. All it takes is a good reason and a bad day.
Freaking music.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I mean, this has got quite an American cast on it, so
it looks like it's one of those ones where it's split between us and probably Florida or Arizona. I was gonna turn that off. Oh, crikey, no, hide. Sorry. Switch that off.
Is Gatiss writing this with Moffat, or is it just Moffat?
I think Gatiss is probably helping out with it, but yeah, it's
it looks interesting.
It looks interesting. It's got a cast. It's got a writer that I know can write.
Yeah.
So this year has been great for TV. I've said it before on the podcast. Recently, I've got stuff to watch. Even I've got good stuff to watch, and good stuff to watch doesn't necessarily. I would have probably watched She-Hulk if there was nothing on. You know that, don't you? And I'd probably be raging about. And I'd probably be raging about it. And I'd have probably watched Andor and Rings of Power, but because I got good TV,
Gareth, I would if you started watching all of She-Hulk, I would have to get on a plane, fly over there, knock on your door, slap you, and then fly back again to make that point.
No words said.
Rings of Power, I could think, but no. Even I, who watches fucking everything, has not watched beyond episode 3 of She-Hulk. I can't do it. I won't do it. It doesn't matter how many times you try and bait me in with Daredevil. I will not do it. It is utter.
I'll just watch a clip on YouTube.
Trash. And apparently, it's not made for me. So
I love that. That's a great excuse, isn't it? It's not made for you. Okay, fair enough. Oh, you got no ratings. Who would have thought?
Well, my youngest wanted to watch. We watched a bit after Andor because we were on Disney Plus. We went, let's watch some more of that then. So yeah, we watched a few more. I'm not a big Marvel nerd like you lot, so it doesn't bother me too much because I don't know anything about She-Hulk and whatnot. But you know, it's got some laughs in there, and yeah,
it's just full of men bad. All men are bad.
Hang on a second, because the Inside Man, we'll watch it. We'll talk about it next week. Apart from Keith, who's probably find some illegal way of watching it.
Inside Man, yeah,
it's in Thailand. The rules are really loose there. It's not the same as it is here in Civilization.
There isn't something on Scott.
No, I didn't say anything.
I'll watch it. Don't worry.
But
I'll watch it. Yeah.
Going back to She-Hulk, the problem with things like that is when they turn around and they say, there's no what do you call it? It's just shit. Sorry, let me get this right. It's shit because someone has hired people who can't do the job. Yeah, this is what diversity hiring looks like, opposed to hiring people who are actually qualified to do something. Yeah, it looks shit. It loses you money, and that was the thing. Apparently, Disney had an investor call, and on the investor call, this one guy called him out and turned around and said the following: Disney, you've got to stop taking sides in politics because it's costing you people and money. Focus on the money. And he's ironic because he's an Indian investor, and he's focused on trying to figure out what these things are done. I know. Do you want to know where this comes from? Because I traced this back, and I did the what do you call it, the due diligence of finding out where the money comes from. Yeah, because part of this infested my organization. I'm not going to say what my organization is. Part of it infested my organization. And I wanted to see if it was where it came from. It comes from BlackRock. Yeah, BlackRock invested 10%, bought a large share in my company, and then we got all this shit. And then all of a sudden it stopped, and I checked, and they divert, and they'd taken their investment out of my company. And that's what it is. They go in there, they buy a chunk of the company, and then they impose these rules on them. And the reason that they do it is because bankers during 2008, when the bailouts happened, looked like complete arseholes. And now they want to make themselves look like the good guys, even though it's costing people lots of money. And that's the problem. It's costing lots of money. The amount of people who have been turned off, Disney have lost God knows how many people who will never probably come back to them.
It's just, I do not. The way Amazon are acting at the moment is that they seem to be running from duck for cover. I mean, the way they have manipulated the reviews, the way they constantly delete negative reviews, even though those, I didn't F and Jeff. I wrote what I found to be quite a fair review. I said that, look, I mean, the Irish fucking Times called Rings of Power racist. I mean, seriously, I am waiting.
Then they call it rancid cat food.
Oh, something like that. But I'm waiting. Seriously, if one of these fucking hobbits, not hobbits, goes, "Oh, me lucky charms," I would not be shocked. I mean, even my dad, I said, "Dad, don't watch it." He goes, "Why?" He goes, "Oh, I did hear somewhere that the hobbits are like leprechauns." I said, "They're worse than that." I mean, they're worse than that. Fucking, "Oh, me lucky charms" is less racist than what these guys are. I mean, in this fucking week, they're fucking evil cunts as well. They want to kill each other. Oh, let's take his wheels away from him. I mean, I don't usually do things like cancel my subscriptions. I have done it in this case because I literally grew up on Tolkien, and this is fucking sacrilege. So,
the worst thing is, there's a TV show called The Shannara Chronicles.
I remember that.
That looks really good in comparison.
It is.
Why does that ring a bell? That rings a bell.
Because it was on Netflix. It was not, I think it was Netflix. Yeah, it was Netflix. It got cancelled, unfortunately, but it was way better than this.
It was filmed in New Zealand too, wasn't it?
Yeah. You see, I mean, I gave it 2 stars on Amazon because I said, look, it's filmed in New Zealand, and New Zealand cannot fail but to be beautiful. The digital artists are leaving a few fucking nice little Easter eggs in there for real Tolkien fans. But how can you have a 4th and 5th episode where they arrive at the exact same ending point? How can you have 2 episodes that end exactly the same way with the characters being in the exact same position? Even fucking Game of Thrones never did that. I mean, we joke aside, but everything happens in the last 5 minutes. But Daenerys always moved ahead, be it very briefly, but she moved 1 square along. Here, 4th episode ends with Numenor and Galadriel going off to Middle Earth. Yeah. 5th episode ends with Galadriel going off to Middle Earth.
Yeah, it's I just everything. If it's something, I watch crap movies. I do watch crap movies. I used to love crap old B movies. Yeah, the old ones that are filmed in the 1950s. It's like kind of Fiend Without Face. Ever seen that movie?
I've heard.
It has an absolutely horrific ending for a film in the 1950s. It stars Leonard Nimoy, yeah, and it has disembodied brains and spinal columns attack a house for the climax, yeah. But when it happens, they shoot them, and it's like blood and viscera everywhere. It's fantastic, yeah. And like the original, what I say, the original version of the thing, the thing from another world, which featured a stunt which was the first full blown body burn. Yeah, it has the most sexist comment in any film ever. I'm going to clip it and put it in here one day. It's like kind of, my God, it's like a vegetable. So naturally, all the men turn to the one woman in the camp and turn around and goes, "What do we do with vegetables?" Like that. Well, you can fry it. You can boil it. You can fry it. Fry it. We'll kill it with electricity.
Yeah, but that was very much of its era.
And then there's Plan 9 from Outer Space, and then the one with the space spiders and the coconuts. I can't even remember the name of the film. So shit, but it was it was so shit. It was entertaining. Yeah, what you described to me when you were describing describing Rings of Power didn't sound so shit. It was entertaining, because sometimes you get entertainment out of shit things.
No, it's not entertaining. It's
ironically, but it sounded really dull, because you were like kind of, oh, this is where they make meat roll. Meat roll was a throwaway fucking line.
No, they've completely
throwaway line in fucking The Hobbit.
They've completely fucked Mithril, because now apparently Mithril contains the light of Endor, and the only way that the elves can survive the darkness is to go dig up the Mithril, because it contains the light of Endor, which is complete bullshit. Tolkien never wrote
the elves and the
Fuck
dwarves.
you, Amazon. Sorry.
Are the elves behaving like the dwarfs? They're digging.
No, it gets even more stupid than that, because like Elrond has a pact. He had an oath. He was sworn to secrecy. So the elf king is going, but you found Mithril. I have an oath. I can't say anything, which is, confirming it.
I
But
found
the king
Mithril,
goes, instead of going, okay, you just confirmed it. You have to tell me. You have to break your oath. He just did. Right, but he keeps. You have to break your oath. I can't tell you. I swore an oath. By saying that, you dumbass writers, he's just told you he found Mithril. He has confirmed it. It's so fucking dumb. It's unbelievable.
Yeah,
Gareth, where the fuck have they spent $1 billion? I mean, seriously. I reckon there's some fucker somewhere with $900 million sitting in his bank account going like that.
Yeah, it's the other thing too was so I didn't watch much TV because I was going through a book. I was going through The Fall of Hyperion, which is a really good story, and in it, the AI group, which is referred to as a Technocore, are the bad guys, and they're doing all the bad guy shit. And it's set up in a way that that they're doing the bad guy shit, and then one character then finds out, who's separate from everyone, that they're doing the bad guy shit, yeah? And then all you're doing is you're waiting for everyone else to figure that shit out, because it's written and it's set out from start to finish from 2 books, and it makes perfect sense that they're the ones doing the shit. They've explained it to you, and it's done in such a way that it doesn't feel unnatural. And all you're doing now is as a reader, you're going through it going, figure it out, you dumb bastards, like that. But because it's like in The Expanse, there's light delay and all this other stuff, they're not getting the relevant information at the right time. This doesn't sound like it's got anything like that in there. Nothing that's going to get set up, nothing that's going to get paid off.
About it. There's nothing that even remotely is recognizable as a Tolkien writing, other than the names. And even then, Galadriel is one of the most unlikable characters that I've ever seen in a TV show. She is full-on girl boss. She kicks the shit out of everybody else. She is obnoxious. And if somebody stabbed her in the fucking gullet tomorrow, I wouldn't be upset. And that's not how you should feel about Galadriel, the elf lord, ring bearer.
The other thing too is you didn't have to make her a sword wielding badass. You could have just made her a magic user. That would have worked.
She
could have been sitting there throwing fucking enchantments and fireballs around, rather than jumping up and down on stabbing snow trolls in the face. I'm trying to remember from what you told me.
The best thing about it is the dwarves, only because they've got lovely Scottish accents and they're just nice. They are the only thing that makes me smile in it, and only marginally. These Irish hobbits, if you're an Irish person watching this, I can understand why you're so upset, because not only have you got like taking the most stereotyped Irish thing ever serious. And I'm not joking. If one of them says, "Oh, me lucky charms," I wouldn't be shocked. Right? It's that kind of level of stereotyping and made them all absolute bastards. You've got Gandalf turning up, and what the fuck? You've got, Sauron in completely the wrong context. And now we're going to get a mini Helm's Deep with Girl Boss there as well. So not only that, we're trying to.
You can be clever and you can do these in different ways.
You could have set it up in a Game of Thrones, because the guy said he wanted Game of Thrones. So why didn't you just go with Isildur? Why did you not go with the build up to the battle with Sauron? Why didn't you go with that? No, we're going to be clever. We're going to go with the forging of the rings, but we haven't got any of the rights to that. It is almost like this has been made by a bunch of fucking first grade dumbasses. It is so stupid. I don't understand. I'm not even. I can't get into all the fucking politics side of it because it's so dumb that the dumbness kind of shields all the rest of the other crap that came with it. There's no point in going on that. It's just so stupid and dull and boring. And who would have thought, after season 8 of Game of Thrones, that I'm sitting here going, I really want to see episode 6 of House of Dragon. It's going somewhere. This is quite fucking good. And
I think
largely because of Matt Smith, but
I think the whole thing with House of the Dragon is an apology. This is an apology. We're really sorry. We fucked up. We kept our gob shut until we had something that you knew that we'd like. We checked the other one. It was shit. We binned it straight away because you weren't going to like it.
He wrote this, and arguably this is why we haven't got Winds of Winter. Well, it is exactly why we haven't got Winds of Winter. But I don't, as much as I do care, because I'm still, I'm not going to go off on one today. I won't break the mic today. But it's been quite good. And Matt Smith has been fucking exceptional in this. And he plays a bit of a nasty bastard. It turns out he's pretty fucking good at it. It's just brilliant watching him. It's just brilliant watching his character. And it's like, you're a nasty bastard and you deserve to get stabbed in the back, but I kind of like you.
Well, it's because an interesting character, because someone's bothered fashioning something for that. What I can't believe is the amount of executive producers on it.
On what?
It's like fucking Star Trek Discovery, where there's more executive producers than there are stars and actors.
Are we talking House of Dragon or Rings of Power?
No, we're talking. This is the Rings of Power. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 producers. I'm sorry. If you want to save money, bin it. You need 3. The creative, the guy who's actually doing the work and has to sign off the thing, and the person from the studio that you're trying to keep happy. That's it. You don't need any more than that.
Did you see Gary Nerderotic's video on the 4th episode where he superimposed the South Park taking our jobs over the scene from it? Fucking brilliant, because it worked. It worked. They're taking our jobs. They're coming over here and they're taking our jobs. And it just and you've got all the South Point voices.
I heard about it, but it doesn't sound interesting. That's the problem.
It's dull.
The issue.
It's dull. It's dull and dumb. I'm not Gareth. Episode 4, Gladriel convinces everybody that they need to go to Middle Earth. Right. So Númenórean Queen that never existed agrees to it. Ending of episode 4. The Queen agrees to send the army to Middle Earth. Gladriel's there. It's exactly the same fucking ending.
Oh,
$1 billion TV series. $1 billion TV series.
I'll be honest with you. I'll be honest with you. You're selling me more on it now than you did when you were keen on it. When you were sitting there going, "Oh, this turns into I don't know, fucking dwarf orc."
You should
castle.
watch episode 4 and just tell me what the fuck happened. Because you could summarize it. Galadriel is going off to Middle Earth.
I want to preserve my intelligence. I'm sorry.
It will sap your intelligence.
I'm gonna. What's gonna happen is when it gets to the end, yeah, I'm gonna pop it on, and I'm gonna watch it. And every time I get bored, I'm just gonna fast forward through it and go, and then I'm gonna stop and go, how long did I actually watch of that? And then if it's like an hour for like the entire series, they cocked up.
See, I mean,
anyway.
He wanted Game of Thrones, but nothing happens even in the last 5 minutes.
I'll be honest with you. He had enough money to buy Game of Thrones rights.
I know. He has enough money to buy HBO.
Game of Thrones. And remake Game of Thrones. He could have done that.
7 and
8. But if the rumors are true and he is making 7, 8, and 9 with the Expanse, then I kind of got to take some of that back. And I will definitely then have to re-sign up to fucking Prime. So,
well,
if they announce Expanse season 7, which I think they're about to do,
right, the Expanse lifted the bad guys from the Fall of Hyperion. They live in between the fucking gates.
The rumor mill is now in full swing that they are definitely working on something. I do think it's season 7, 8, and 9. They're not.
We've still got the Telltale game with drama.
They're changing it from the book. The rumor is it's now 5 years, not
because it's just easier for us as production wise to do 5 years and 30.
But the rumor is that we are going to get 7, 8, and 9. And I am there for it. If they do it, I mean, come on. There is no way you cast Duarte. There is no fucking way you put all that shit right into season 6 without a fucking end game, because that was not it. Right? That was like, all this shit's going on in Laconia, but don't mind that.
They just kept it in line with the book, so when they did get around to doing it, you know. But unlike fucking George Martin, George R. Martin,
9 books,
finished the lot in between. 9. And I think the funny thing is when they put it on TV, there'll be bits from the books that they'll change because 1, it's on TV, and 2, it'll help improve the story too, because there's some certain bits of the story are a bit clanky. I do want to see Takar. I can't say her name now. The Japanese lady that's chasing the crew of the Ross and Nancy, get her and her guys get fucking torn to shreds by the PDCs. Yeah. I'm really looking forward to that. That's one of my favorite bits of the book. That
will be quite.
Oh, your weapons can't hurt us in this power armor. Yeah, and then the Ross and Nancy flies up behind them, just turns them into bloody stumps and like.
Is that when they're dropping off what's her face in the 8th book to the university and the Ross and
they're trying to do that with so it's that bit there. But yeah.
I'm up for it. I will begrudgingly sign up to Prime if they do that. Otherwise, no, I'm not. I am staying off Prime at least until the Rings of Power is over with. I think what they're doing, manipulating reviews. They have put a load back now because the pressure from Twitter has been that so many people have been going, my 1-star reviews are deleted, and Amazon's whole this is bots, this is people downvoting it is just it's not ringing true anymore, because there are what you would consider normies, no offense, like you, Nigel, who are now going on Twitter going, my 1-star reviews think this is shit. So now Amazon's had to put it back. So now you've got 30% 5-star reviews, but you've also got 30% 1-star reviews. But even then, they're still massively manipulating the reviews.
I'm on this at the moment on Amazon, looking at the reviews for the UK. Anyway, you've got 5-star, 42%. Strangely, which is it's 1,700 people. But then it drops off to 4-star 8%, 3-star 5%, and then 2-star is 15%. Right, that's 600 people. And then if you go to 1-star, 1,200 people. So if you add those two up, you've got more 1 and 2-star than you do 5 stars.
Oh yeah,
but it's equally as bad as people think it's good.
Yeah.
So.
And more than anything, it is showing even the fucking sellout media is now finding it very difficult to say good things. In fact, quite a lot of them are now openly criticizing it.
It's one of those things where the production staff have done their jobs. Yeah, but the writing staff, the creative staff, haven't done their jobs. So the guys with the hammers and nails and the paintbrushes, yeah, and the
CGI peeps,
packages, yeah, all those people all did their jobs.
Amazing. I mean, the CGI is very good. I mean, Numenor looks amazing. I can't, and there are clearly. You see, the thing that I said in my review was, when you look at Lord of the Rings, you can feel the passion in that movie. You can criticize some of the choices that Jackson made, but you can't deny that the guy loved the material. There was a passion there. There was a passion from all the people that were involved in that project, right? There is no fucking passion in the Rings of thing, except from the digital artists. And you look at some of the detail that's gone into Numenor, and you look at that, you go, okay, some of the guys that are doing this are Lord of the Rings fans. Some of them know what the fuck they're doing, right? This isn't just Amazon going, oh, make it. They've gone in there and they've put details in there only Lord of the Rings fans and Tolkien fans would know, right? And the fact that they've made like the Citadel in Numenor look like Minas Tirith. There's lots of little nods there, which I like. And that's why I gave it 2 stars, not 1, because I said, look, the digital artists, they're amazing. It looks incredible, and it does. I mean, it's shot in New Zealand. You cannot fail with that kind of backdrop not to have a good looking series. It's Gareth, you've nailed it. Everybody involved in it, bar the writing and some of the acting, because that actress that plays Galadriel was fucking terrible. It's good, but the casting, the writing, it's dire. It's just dire.
Okay. And on that not so bombshell, I think it's time we say goodbye. Thanks for watching. And we'll see you in the next one. Say goodbye, guys. Wave.
Goodbye, guys.
Blankety blank.